Live. Okay. It says live. All right, we will be getting started in just about a minute here. Welcome, everybody. But we will be getting started. My name is Gertrude Nontra, if you do not know me already. And you're welcome to tonight's hangout on how to make 4 figures monthly with your own digital products. Okay, so it's just about 7:29 Eastern Standard Time where I am. And so just when I hit 7:30, we're going to get started. All right. right. So, hi everyone. Good evening and welcome to this hangout. My name is Gertrude Nontra, like I said once again, and I am the owner and blogger of myonlinebizjourney.com. And I'm really, really excited that you decided to join us tonight on this hangout. All right. So, there are a few housekeeping things before we get started. I have a Facebook page here. It's www.facebook.com/Gertrude.biz, Gertrude Biz. All right, so I'll just zoom in on that a little bit so that you can see that. Okay. All right, so right here, it's facebook.com/GertrudeBiz. If you would go on there and like the page, I have a post I put up just 47 minutes ago, it says, and this is where we'll be doing the Q&A if you have any questions. However, I'd also like to know where you are joining us in from. And so you can put that right here where it says write a comment. You can put that in there, and that would be great. Okay, so I'll just give everyone a few minutes to get that started, and we will get started. Okay, all right. Just sign into Facebook, facebook.com/GertrudeBiz, and let us know where you are joining us in from. And also let me know if you can hear me clearly. If you can hear me clearly, let me know on Facebook that you can hear me clearly, okay? All right. And we will getting started. Okay, all right. So if you just joined and just missed that, please go to facebook.com/Gertrude. That's GertrudeTrude Biz, B-I-Z, Gertrude Biz. It's one word, facebook.com/Gertrude Biz. And I have a post on there that says we're broadcasting tonight. Tell us where you're from and let me know if you can hear me perfectly. Okay, it's really important. I know you can hear me perfectly because I don't want you to miss out on any of the good stuff we'll be sharing here today. All right. And so once again, I'd like to personally welcome you. And I'd also like to welcome my friend Corey Ferreira from laptopentrepreneurship.com. Welcome, Corey.
Hey.
Hey, all right. I met Corey in January, and I was really, really, really impressed at the depth of his knowledge. He has just so much knowledge about blogging, online entrepreneurship, and I thought I knew a lot until I met Corey, and then it was like I don't know so as much as I thought I knew, and so I knew that at some point I wanted him to come and share his knowledge with my online biz journey audience. And what really impressed me about Corey was that he was not just, a blogger talking about stuff that he has never done. No, he had built a really successful information product business, and it was just impressive. He at the time he told me he was making about 4 figures monthly, and I was like, wow, that is something that a lot of us would like to do, but we sometimes never get the opportunity or just do not know where to get started. And that's exactly why I decided to invite him on to guide us through that process. All right. And so, like I said, he's here. If you have any questions, all the questions will be taken on the Gertrude Biz Facebook page. So make sure to ask your questions there because we really do want to answer your questions. Okay. All right. So like I said, Corey is the owner and blogger at laptopentrepreneurship.com. He is also a content marketer at Shopify. And he actually got that job because he was so good at blogging, and so good at marketing his content. I'm just so impressed with him, and because he was that good, he got an opportunity to work with Shopify, which is a great company to work with and a great place to be. it's a dream place for a lot of us. Okay. And so, don't take your blogging efforts for granted and don't give up, because, it could land you an opportunity that never would have fallen on your lap if you didn't. All right. So that's just a little bit about Corey, but he knows his story better than me. So I'm going to let him go ahead and take it away. Corey, tell us a little bit about yourself and about your successful business marketing, how to be successful on Fiverr. Just go ahead and tell us. Okay.
Sure. I mean, I was a freelancer for a very long time. So before I was actually at Shopify, I was a freelancer. And what I would do is web design freelancing. And about 3 years or so ago, I decided to try Fiverr as a means to find new clients. And when I was on there selling these little web design gigs, so very basic stuff for $5. People don't know what Fiverr is. It's basically a marketplace for services where you can sell and buy things for $5 essentially. And I started out on Fiverr just kind of playing around with it and just really experimenting and just trying to grow my web design business. But inevitably I started trying different things. I stopped doing web design gigs. I started doing these more different kinds of gigs like video testimonials and SEO gigs and all this other different kind of stuff, just seeing what the big boys were doing and the big girls were doing, what they were doing, the very successful sellers on Fiverr, and I started imitating them. And eventually I found this insane success where I started making, my biggest month was $4,000 on Fiverr. Now, if that sounds a lot to you, it certainly is. And if it doesn't sound like a lot to you, put in perspective how many sales I would have to get a day on Fiverr just to make that amount of money. So it was pretty ridiculous. And around this time, I was very interested in online business. I have a business background. I graduated business in college, and I was actually reading a book called The Laptop Millionaire. Mm-hmm. So that was the inspiration for my blog name, and that was actually the inspiration for me to write this ebook called Fiverr Success, detailing what I did on Fiverr and how I found this crazy success on Fiverr. And that was essentially my first real information product. I dabbled with it a little bit earlier on eBay and things like that when I was a lot younger. Nothing really took off because I didn't know exactly what I was doing. I was just trying to push a product. I wasn't trying to actually help people. So that was kind of my first mistake. And it wasn't until I learned that I have to give something of value, obviously, something that people will want to consume and apply and use it to success, was until I created this book, Fiverr Success, and it's just been insane. So since I launched the book about a year ago, it's been doing about $100 a day. So give or take, I'll make like $3,000 in a month, maybe four grand if I'm doing really well. And it's actually because since I've created that first ebook, I've been able to build on top of it. So I created a course from that ebook, and I sold it on my own website. I launched another book from that first book about 100 gigs that you can sell on Fiverr. And from that book recently, I wrote another product. So I've been able to leverage the audience I've built for myself with my very first book and create more information products on top of it to kind of increase my earning potential with this Fiverr niche I've kind of stumbled into, because now, unfortunately, I'm kind of seen as the Fiverr guy, which is not something I really wanted, right? I want to be more seen as the online business guy. I'm much more passionate about that. But still, I mean, it's something I'm definitely going to take advantage of. If people recognize me as the Fiverr guy, obviously I want to help people in that niche because that's what they recognize me the most. So it only makes sense for me to do more things in that niche.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for that. And so, I guess one of the very first questions that people struggle with, in your case, you were doing Fiverr, you said you were imitating the big guys and what they were doing and what made them successful. You saw some success, and then you took that knowledge and then you turned it into a digital product, right? So, if there's somebody who doesn't have these skills, or maybe they think, because a lot of us actually know a lot of stuff that we think we do. Where do they get started coming up with an idea that they can possibly market?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, you have to really look outside of yourself and think about even if what you do for a living, and even teaching people how they can get the job you might have, or teaching people any other kind of skills. Because when we think about creating information products, maybe traditionally we think about teaching people how to make money online. But maybe you teach people how to use Photoshop, or you teach people how to play guitar, right? There's just so much information people want to learn. I mean, if you need to brainstorm, maybe look on Amazon, look at the fiction books, see what kind of books are selling. I mean, there's so much potential out there for you to sell information. I mean, you just have to look at something you have a lot of experience and maybe a little bit of success in doing. Maybe, for example, for me, like I'm a decent guitar player, so I could easily create, maybe a short video course teaching people how to play maybe basic chords, stuff like that. So I think that question is difficult for me to answer because it really does depend on what you know or what you think you can teach or what you're comfortable teaching. Again, the brainstorming process is all about looking out there, looking on Amazon, even Udemy, looking at what courses are doing really well and seeing if you can provide value in those niches, looking at what you can do maybe differently or what take you can add on to what people are teaching already in that niche.
That's really a great answer. And I really like what you just said at the end there, what spin you can put on it. Because sometimes people will say, well, I have this idea, but I already saw that somebody created something on it. So for instance, maybe somebody wants to also create an information product on Fiverr, but they say, well, Corey is already successful at it. And, if I do it, then maybe people will see me as a copycat, or I won't do as well, or because and I have faced this too. It's that sometimes you think that the market is saturated already with products.
Right.
So how now, let's say, okay, you've found kind of an idea. It's something that you can do, some skill, some knowledge that you have. Now you want to translate it into a digital product, but somebody is already doing it. Somebody's already doing
I would
it.
For sure. I mean, for example, for my Fiverr book, when I looked out there to see what was around, I saw a huge opportunity. I saw people were selling these really crappy products. To be honest, they weren't that good.
So there were already products in that, or people already producing products. Yeah, okay.
And I think in my case, I was a little bit lucky because what was out there wasn't very good. So if you're entering a niche where there's a lot of high quality content already out there, I would actually recommend that you don't look at that stuff because it might influence your content. So it might give you ideas. I see what people might be thinking. Well, I'll look at what they're teaching and teach something very similar. The problem is you're going to limit yourself actually. So if you brainstorm off on your own without any outside influence, without looking at what modules they teach, whatever topics they teach, you come up with your own topics, and then you can look at what they're doing. So that doesn't influence your content. You might realize that you have something very different. And again, you can start positioning it differently than what your competition is doing. So for example, if someone's teaching Photoshop, right, and they're teaching it maybe teaching for beginners, all these basic stuff, and you start doing a Photoshop course teaching students how to use Photoshop, students in maybe high school or colleges that are thinking about doing graphic design. So you have your own little spin and take on it, right? And maybe you wouldn't have come up with that idea if you were already so influenced by what's already out there. So I suggest people don't actually buy products already that they want to teach in and look at what they're teaching and kind of take ideas from that, because it's going to influence your own content in a negative way. I'm not saying you're going to copy them. What I'm saying is that you're going to start teaching what they're teaching, and then when you sell your course, you're going to be like, why is no one buying what I'm selling? Right? Because you haven't differentiated yourself enough, or you haven't drilled down your niche well enough. So if someone wanted to compete against me, for example, and do Fiverr, I would tell them, you know what, sub niche. So do Fiverr gigs for graphic designers. There's nothing out there like that. A book specifically targeting graphic designers, teaching them how to make money on Fiverr, right? So I basically just created an idea for my own book, for another book I can create, right? For example. So doing things like that. So if it's saturated, I would tell you to niche down or to brainstorm and think of ways you can be different than your competitors, because you could copy what's proven and what's already working and try and do your own thing on it. But most of the time that might not work because they have the established audience, they have the clout, they have the age and everything. So if it's a very competitive market, you do have to be pretty creative to see any kind of success with the digital product.
Right. Okay, that's a really great answer. So because you talk about positioning, and I guess when you say positioning, you are talking about really differentiating yourself, right?
Right.
Okay, all right, that's great. So then my question is, for somebody that's just starting out, somebody that's completely new to this, they want to produce a digital product. Maybe they don't necessarily want to do the whole blogging gig, you know,
Sure.
and they're starting out, they have their idea, they are, you know, okay, first of all, before we even get into that, I'd like us to talk about tools
Sure.
that you use, because you know, what format did your digital, because you said you first of all created an ebook, and then you created a course, and then you talked about different things. Just walk us through your creation process, you
Sure.
know, from beginning to end. Just walk us through that, because you know, a lot of us need hand holding.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for my very first ebook, I kept it really simple. You know, I didn't have any fancy tools. I wrote it in Google Docs, and then when it came to formatting it to make the ebook look pretty, make the PDF look very nice, I actually opened up PowerPoint, pasted everything into PowerPoint, and used a template with nice looking design and everything and saved that as a PDF. A lot of people don't know you can do that. So what a lot of people try and do is they try and use Word and like use templates for Word or whatever to create this nice looking PDF. But that's what I did, just to create a nice looking PDF. And then for the ebook cover, I actually made it myself with Photoshop. So that's maybe not a good answer for your audience, but maybe if you guys want to try something like Canva, it's so powerful. You can create such nice looking. Like Canva wasn't really available when I created Fiverr Success, so I would recommend Canva as a tool to create graphics or a book cover. And I guess I use Grammarly too. Another thing which helped with the editing, because the ebook is really long, and I didn't want to hire an editor, so I used a tool called Grammarly, something I used in college, which is a tool that checks your grammar and your spelling and everything. It's actually very powerful. It's something I like using. I use it for even, you know, for Shopify and stuff like that. If you want to talk about online courses, like video courses, I kept it really simple. Again, I use Camtasia to record the screen. It's expensive. It's over $100, so it's not a cheap tool. I used a really decent webcam, a Logitech, I think a C920. I use a Snowball microphone, and I think it's called an Ice Snowball. Very basic. Now I upgraded to this, but a very basic microphone for my very first Fiverr Success course. Again, I use PowerPoint as the slides, and then I would record Camtasia, record the slides. Very simple stuff, you know. I guess those are the tools I basically used to create the product. Nothing crazy, no secret or anything like that. Just very basic tools that got the job done for me. Okay,
very basic tools. So for a PDF, you'll just recommend just doing it in Word, right? Or any word processor.
Sure.
And then you said copying that into PowerPoint?
Yeah, so I'd actually copy and paste all that stuff into PowerPoint. I would even buy a template from like graphicriver.net. You can buy PowerPoint templates. So you can buy these beautiful looking templates. I'd paste all the content. Graphicriver.net. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Hey, froze for me a second. Yeah, so I bought the templates from graphicriver.net, and I used that as a PowerPoint templates for my PowerPoint. Really basic stuff.
Okay. I think it's freezing on us a little bit. Can you hear me, Corey?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, but it seems our video is a little frozen. I'm sorry, guys. You can go ahead and refresh your browser if this is still happening on your browser. Just go ahead and refresh it. I'm actually going to try to do that so that it comes easily. Okay. I am okay. All right. Can you hear me, Corey?
Yeah. It's just your video is choppy, but I can hear you.
Yes, you can hear me. Okay. So we're going to have to probably deal with the choppy video.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's great. So now we talked about tools. You said Graphic River for any kind of graphic design needs, right? Or Canva.
Yeah, Graphic River is good for like templates, for like PowerPoint slide templates, stuff like that.
Right. And then for your online course, for those who don't necessarily want to do an ebook but want to do an online course, what did you use?
So the site is just WordPress, but for the membership plugin to protect the content, I would host the videos on Wistia,
Right.
which is a monthly fee. So it's like I pay like $30 a month for it, but it's unlimited bandwidth. It secures my content. So I wouldn't recommend anything like YouTube or anything like that. Vimeo is another decent alternative. And then I use something called
Okay.
Optimize Press to build the website, and Optimize Member,
Okay.
which comes with Optimize Press, to create the membership backend.
Okay. All right. Okay. So optimize press for your courses,
Yes.
right? All right. All right. So now we've gone through, we've kind of come up with an idea based on your skills, your knowledge, your experiences, and then you've created that. Now, I think the biggest problem that people face sometimes is actually finding out how to market it and how to make it sell.
Yeah.
Because that's the biggest thing. I know, at least for me, that's one of the problems I was facing in the beginning is I've created it, it's there, but finding people to buy it. How do you, number one, if you do not have an audience? I don't know where you were in your journey when you launched your Fiverr Success book. But for people that don't have an audience, for instance, we'll talk about people that do have an audience, but let's talk about somebody who does not have an audience. How do they go ahead and market this when when nobody knows about them?
Sure. I mean, with Fiverr Success, I had 0 people on my list. And with my last course I created called Create an Ebook That Crushes It, teaching people how I did this Fiverr thing, I had 0 people. So for Fiverr Success, what I actually did, I did it with, I didn't spend a dime. What I did was I created a landing page while I was writing this ebook. And it said, coming soon, I'm writing an ebook about Fiverr. If you want to learn more about it, sign up to my list or whatever. And then I went on Twitter and I created a Fiverr Success account just for my book. And I said on this Twitter account, I'm a top-rated seller on Fiverr. I'm writing an ebook teaching people how I did what I did on Fiverr, this crazy amount of money I was making, all that good stuff. So what I did then was I would go on search.twitter.com and I would search people talking about Fiverr. So I'd search Fiverr. And what I would do is I'd engage with them in the conversation. Most of the time they were asking questions. Most of the time they were complaining about Fiverr, stuff like that. And I would just engage them. I wouldn't be like, hey, I'm writing a book. Come check this out. I wouldn't do none of that. I would just engage them because more often than not, they would check out what you're doing. And my bio usually says enough. So that's what I would do. And then what I did was I would look on Fiverr's following and I'd follow the top people that recently followed them and then hope that they follow me back. And then what I did was I would use a tool called TwitNerd. That's twitnerd.com. And every week I would go onto this website and I would just check who's not following me back and I'd unfollow them. So the whole point was engaging people to get them to check me out and then following maybe 50 people a day to hopefully get them to notice me and follow me back. And that way, by the time I launched my ebook, I actually made $400 my first day. And this is when my book was priced $17. So I had an audience to launch the book to, which wound up giving me the momentum, because what happens on ClickBank is, because I use ClickBank to actually host the book, which is another tool I should have mentioned. ClickBank allows people to be your affiliates. They can help sell your book as well. And what happens is the more your book sells, the more it will appear higher in the marketplace to affiliates who are looking to promote products. And what wound up happening was it created a snowball effect because my book had a massive launch, right? Massive in the sense that, I mean, $400 is nothing in terms of the ClickBank money, but it was more than enough for the Fiverr niche that people noticed it. And what wound up happening is more and more affiliates started promoting the product and created this snowball effect. And so that was how I did with Fiverr Success. With my last course, with Create an Ebook That Crushes It, I did have an audience that I emailed when I launched the course, but I actually created Facebook ads. So I did top of the funnel stuff. So what you don't want to be doing on Facebook is direct selling. So you don't want to have an ad for your ebook and say, hey, I'm selling this ebook about Fiverr. It's $17. Click here to buy it. Nobody's going to buy your book like that. You're going to be wasting a lot of money. And if people do buy your book like that, you're not going to have a decent return on investment. You're probably going to lose money. So what you have to do is actually a top of funnel advertisement. And I'm actually creating a course to teach this, to make it as an add-on course for my Create an Ebook That Crushes It course. But I'll just tell you for free basically what it is. It's essentially, you're going to be creating a lead magnet, either a webinar or a cheat sheet or a free chapter of your book, or maybe a 5-minute video, which is what I used. Okay. And you're going to have an advertisement advertising this lead magnet on Facebook. And what I recommend is using retargeting pixels on your website as well. Something we can talk about maybe in the future of this Hangout.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, you create this top of funnel ad. People opt in to get this lead magnet.
Right.
Then once they're opted in, you start in your email list. You start sending
and
them.
I'm writing this down as you're speaking. That's why I keep like turning around, not because I'm trying to ignore you, but because I'm just trying to like get my pen, because like it's like, oh, this is good stuff. Okay, so you talk about. First of all, I want to ask you before you go ahead, because you've just said so many things. Okay, first of all, your Twitter. Okay. So did you before? So I know that there are people that say that, okay, before you even go ahead and create the whole digital product, you need to pre-sell it.
Right.
Did you do that?
No, I could talk about pre-selling in the next question, because actually my last course, Create an Ebook That Crushes It, I totally pre-sold it. I didn't even create one video yet. By that time, I made $8,000. To put in perspective. Wow. So yeah, so I made that in a weekend just from these webinar Facebook guides I had going on, and I didn't even create one module yet. I'll talk about that in the next question and our next answer. We can talk about that.
Right.
But I didn't pre-sell the Fiverr book. The book was already written, which looking back is probably a bad idea, because if no one bought it, it would have been a big waste of time. But it worked out anyway. And at the same time too, I was still saving time. While I was writing this book, I was marketing it. So I was doing them together. I wasn't doing them separately, which is a classic mistake people do, is they create the product first and then they market it after. But what I teach in my Create an Ebook That Crushes It course is that it's called the reverse method, where you actually write the sales page first, you market it second, and then you create the product. So it's backwards. Because if you create the sales page first,
you create the say that again.
So you create the sales page first.
Okay,
then you market it. Then you create the product. So you create the sales page first to give you more context when you start advertising the product, because you don't even really know what it's about yet. If you create sales page first, it forces you to come up with the sales language and the copy you're going to be using to describe your product. Once you have that, it'll give you a better idea of what kind of product you should be creating, right? So obviously you're going to tweak this later, probably once you launch the product anyway, right? But it's a good idea to do that first, just to give you context and to see what you're maybe missing. So if you start creating the sales page, it's just kind of a way of brainstorming the product too. You create the sales page first, you come up with the modules that you're going to have, right? You describe all the modules, what you're going to be teaching. It gives you a better idea, so that when you create this ad to pre-sell it, which I can talk about later, how to do it, you know what you're advertising. And then when you're marketing this product, then you're creating it once it's becoming validated.
Right. Okay. So that's how you would do it now, right?
Right.
But with your Fiverr Success book, you hadn't done that. You just created it, and then alongside use your Twitter strategy to build your audience, correct?
Right. Correct.
Okay. All right. And so when you say engage, so sometimes I'm on Twitter because I love Twitter. I really like using it. And I follow people, just because I want to follow them. They seem interesting. And the next thing I know, they're like spamming me with emails, with Twitter messages saying,
all stuff.
Exactly. And it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
It's sort of annoying. Now,
don't do that.
How did you overcome that? How did you said you engaged the people. What did you say to them?
I wouldn't engage with anyone that sent me those direct messages. What instead I would do is I go on search.twitter.com, and I do this with my own Twitter. So I'll search like optimized press, right?
Right.
On search.twitter.com, and I'll see who's talking about optimized press. And one time there was this girl asking, what's better, optimized press or lead pages? She just broadcasted this tweet out to the world, right? I saw that tweet. I engaged with her. I told her, listen, I use optimized press. I prefer it. I don't want to rent out my software. Funny enough, she engaged with me back, said thanks for the advice. She checked out my bio, and then she followed me. I didn't even ask her to follow me, and she followed me. And then funny enough, a few weeks later, she started checking out my blog post, because eventually she tweeted me and said, hey, nice blog post, or whatever she said, I forget. So the point is, right, the problem with this thing I'm teaching, though, it sounds easy, but it's not, because it's really hard to scale, and it's very time consuming doing this. So I recommend people do like an hour a day. That's what I do. And that's what I did with my Fiverr book. So I would engage people. I would search Fiverr, for example, on search.twitter.com.
Right.
People will be saying, hey, my gig's not selling, or I hate Fiverr, all this stuff. And I would engage with them. I'd be like, you should try experimenting with your gigs. Or I'd be like, do you have 20 gigs? You should always have 20 gigs. That way you can always, reach your full potential of reaching more people and hopefully making one of your gigs work. This is just this kind of stuff, right? Just giving them tips, unsolicited stuff. But I'm not asking to check out my bio. I'm not saying, hey, I'm writing a book. I did none of that, right? I never, ever promoted to someone I didn't know, right? So unless they were following me first. So that's what I did. I just engaged with everyone. I injected myself in the middle of the conversations that were going on Twitter, in the Twitterverse, and I just added value, right?
Right.
And
Right.
I'm not saying it always worked. Maybe 1 out of 5 people actually responded with me or responded to me or actually followed me. So it's not like it's a numbers game, right? It's not always going to work, but it's free. And it just takes maybe an hour or so of your day every day, and it can slowly start to pay off and build you that audience without you having to spend a dime.
And how long did that take you to do? How long did it take you to build up that audience?
Sure. I mean, like I was writing this book for 2 months. The book didn't take me 2 months to write, but I wound up taking 2 months to write it because I just wasn't that motivated with it. I was doing other things. I was involved in my freelancing business. So for about 2 months, I was doing this, right? And I wasn't even doing it that well. If I were to do it again, I can probably build the same audience in a month, right? Because I actually recently added like 700 followers to my Twitter account in like 5 days one time. So it's not completely unreasonable. I even wrote a blog post about it, how I added 700 followers. I think it was in 5 days, something like that, or maybe 7 days. So it's certainly possible. If you just, it's very time consuming, but it's certainly possible to do it. It's not that hard.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay, good. So that's how you built your audience. Yeah,
Right.
that definitely is sounds like it's time consuming, like you said, and that it would go faster, because I know that the traditional way people would say to do this is, like do a Google keyword search, create an opt-in magnet that will funnel people through, through search, for instance, and then they
Right.
come, and then they will, and then you'll have an audience, and then and I feel like that takes very long. It's there's nothing wrong with it, but it seems like that takes really long. And what you're describing, I don't know. Can you help me reconcile that? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like, I think the problem with that, a strategy like that, is that it's not guaranteed for the first thing. And the second thing, it takes way too long, right? So while I don't think SEO is a bad thing, I'm not like someone who's very like bullish on it. I think SEO is okay, but I don't focus all my efforts on that because I think the game's always changing too fast for me. I don't like keeping up, and I'm too small of a blog to kind of compete with the big boys like Pat Flynn, stuff like that. So I don't try and compete on that level with SEO. So I think for me, the fastest way to put myself in front of people is to pay. So I buy traffic. I go on Facebook, I buy ads, I go on Google AdSense, I buy ads, just stuff like that. Or if you can network with people and then put yourself in front of their audience by doing guest posts, interviews like this, stuff like that is going to put yourself in front of other people's audiences. That's a fast way of getting traffic again, and that's free, right? So I think SEO is too slow. SEO is good in the long term. Like, create great content that Google will want to rank. Definitely. I'm not saying don't do that, but don't expect that to grow your list quickly, right? Or get you an audience quickly. It's very, very slow. So if you're writing a book right now, you can't rely on SEO to help build your list or create you a nice little audience to launch to. I would say, as you're creating this product, start marketing it. Like, that doesn't have to be much too. I spend $1 a day for my ads for Fiverr Success. Now I'd probably recommend $5 a day, right? $1 a day costs $30 a month. If you can do that, it's an extra 3,000 visitors.
And this is on Facebook.
Right, Facebook, correct.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I think Facebook's the best marketing tool, like, and probably ever, and take advantage now because it won't be this cheap 5 years from now, right? Before marketers ruin it. So take advantage, because Facebook is a steal in terms of the quality of traffic and the quality of targeting. Just the return on investment I've seen. Like, I spent $600 on Facebook ads when I launched my Create an Ebook That Crushes It course, but I made $8,000. So put that into perspective, right? Like, it's a huge ROI. Now, granted, some of the people that bought the course, they were on my list already. They were already fans of me. So only a small chunk of that actually bought my course. But if I had no audience, I still would have netted a profit. So what I was saying before was the top of the funnel thing for my create an ebook that crushes it was I had a lead magnet that they would come into and opt in to get a let's say a webinar or a free course, right, or a free video.
Right.
Then I would nurture them. So while they're on my list, I wouldn't just promote to them immediately after, right? I wouldn't do any direct selling on my course. I would send them more content, so more valuable content. I might send them maybe 4 emails before I actually promote the course. So I might do like a 3 video sequence, like the Jeff Walker style launch, right?
Right.
Where you have 3 different videos.
And people may not know what a Jeff Walker style walk is. So eventually, can you talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. So you have something to have them opt into an email list.
Right.
It could be anything, a webinar or checklist or whatever. And then the next step is.
So yeah, once they opt in to ideally to see a video series, usually a Jeff Walker style launch is usually a 3 video sequence before you promote a course. So for example, let's say I'm creating a course, I would have 3 videos go out to a person who subscribes to my list, and they would go through that 3 video sequence before they get an opportunity to buy my course. So what happened is, for example, on day 1, I would create a Facebook ad and say, I'm going to teach you how to make money on Fiverr, for example, right? So they opt in to get the first video, and it would basically be talking about myself, my story, how I got involved on Fiverr, educate them, right? But still give them a little bit of value. Then the second video would come out maybe a day or 2 days later. You don't want to make it too long. You want to keep them engaged. And the second video would be pure value. So I'd actually teach them something very good, probably from my course, right, that I'm going to sell. Then a few days later, 1 or 2 days later after that, send them another email. So you can do this all in an autoresponder sequence, by the way. You don't have to manually send these, but you can if you want, okay? And the third video would be, you kind of wrapping up the sequence, and at the end, pitch your course. You go, if you want to learn more, I invite you to join my course, Fiverr Success, where I'm going to be expanding on these concepts, going more deeper in these than I could in these short videos, stuff like that, right? You want to do a nice pitch. And of course, if you've provided enough value and you've shown that you're an authority on the subject, people will trust you, and they'll want to check out what you're doing and probably purchase your course.
Right. So then that's a really great system. You're doing Facebook ads, you're having people come into your email list, you're feeding them a video series, and then if they like that, they can come into your course. So then because you talked about how recently you launched a course, and before you even created the very first video, you had already made $8,000. Now, and that sounds like something like a behemoth to like somebody who's never done this before. You had a list. Just walk us through that. Walk us through that whole process.
So I had an idea to create a course teaching people how I created this ebook and how I marketed it, how I made money, all that stuff, right? So I was going to create this course called Create an Ebook That Crushes It. I had it all planned out, but I didn't create anything. It was going to be 6 modules also, all this stuff. But I didn't want to go through and create this content because I realized it was so much stuff I would record and create. And if it didn't sell, it'd be a big waste of time. So what I did was I created this webinar where I was going to teach people some content, like teaching them, talking to them about the Fiverr Success book, how I created it, how I marketed it, how I sold it in this webinar. And then at the end of the webinar, I said, hey guys, listen, I'm going to be creating this course. It's going to be weekly. So that would give me enough time to create each video. So I do it weekly. And if you guys would be willing to take a chance on me, you guys can be my champions. That's what I call them. So I wouldn't say, you guys are like testing the course out, or you're beta testers, or, the course not even done yet. I would say you guys are my champions. You guys are going to go through my course and make it better for people in the future. And in return for you guys doing that for me, you guys are going to get a discount. So the course, instead of launching at $600, I launched it at $399. And once they at the end of the webinar, I sent it to a landing page describing all the content that they were going to get, right? All the stuff I was going to send them weekly. So I would send them 1 module a week. So it'll be a 6-week course. And if I met enough, like a minimum, so like ideally I wanted to get like 50 people to buy it. I only got like 40, but I didn't want to like refund that. I'm like, that's enough. I still made a decent amount of money. So what I wound up doing was I said, okay, I closed the course after I got that. I made it in like 4 days. I actually wound up closing the course. I got 40 sales. I closed the course. It was more than enough for me. And I started from there. I actually just finished recording the last module last week or 2 weeks ago. And what I did was I record every module every week, put it up on the website in the membership area, and that was essentially it. So I didn't even have anything done. I actually created the content after everyone already bought the course. So I said, okay, you guys bought the course. The first module is going to come in next Saturday, right? So give me enough time to create the first module. Then I had a module coming into the course every Saturday.
And so these are people these people really trust you, and so
right. Yeah.
they really trust you to pay all that money, $300 to you so are these people that were already on your list, or people that you had gotten through the funnel you just described?
Yeah, so it was a mix. It was about half and half, actually. About I think 20 of my students were already fans of me, of my content and everything.
Right.
I believe another. I have to go back and check because it's been like 6 weeks, 7, 8 weeks since I first launched this. Right. I remember in the mastermind we had, I remember telling you. Now I forgot to go check my numbers. I don't really know my numbers anymore. But I remember about half of them being from Facebook. So about 20 or so of them were from Facebook. And the thing is too that they trusted me because the webinar was about an hour long. And about 35 to 40 minutes of it was pure content. It was me teaching them what I call the 4 pillars of a good information product topic. So if your topic meets these 4 pillars, it's a good product to create. It's a good topic to create an information product around, for example, right? And I gave that away for free in this webinar. And then at the end, the last 15 minutes or so, when I was pitching the course, I was going through each module exactly what they would get, exactly what they would learn, right? But I also had a money-back guarantee as well. I gave them 60 days. If they're not satisfied with the course, that they can get their money back, no questions asked. So again, you do need a guarantee. You want the risk to be on yourself, not to be on your customers.
Right.
That's going to really help sell your course as well. So you don't have to tell them the course is not ready yet. You don't have to tell them that. But what you could tell them is, listen, this is the first draft of my course. So you guys are going to be my champions. You guys are going to go through the content. You guys are going to apply it. And then I'm going to tweak it for the next set of students that comes in. But they're going to have to pay the full price. You're going to get the early bird price is what I called it. But I called them my champions. That's what I called them. My first batch of students were my champions. And then the nice thing about these guys is once they go through my content, they apply it, I can use them as testimonials for my sales page once I launch the course in the future as the full price and make it an evergreen course that continues to sell every quarter or whatever I plan on doing on with this content. I'm still kind of thinking about how I'm going to relaunch this course because I do want to make it. I wouldn't be happy with just another 40 sales. I actually do want to sell more. So I'm still kind of tweaking it, figuring it out. The course was a success. The students were pretty pleased with it, but there are things I can go back and adjust. And I did have to rush a little bit of the content because I was creating a module every week. It actually did wind up being very difficult. Yeah. So if I was anyone else, I'd probably suggest creating at least the first module first or whatever, just creating a little bit of the product first while you're pre-selling it. Then once it's validated, once you get enough sales, then start creating the product. So for me, the product idea was validated. I got 40 people in. That was enough for me. It was eight grand. It's more than enough for me. So I created the product. Like I said, every week I released a new module. And then, now I'm going to go through it again, tweak it, make it better, relaunch the product. And now it's validated. So I know it sells. I know people are willing to pay for this content. So now I'm actually going to up the price, add more content, tweak the sales page, do the webinar over because some of the things in the webinar are actually not that great. See, so going through these things again. So not only does it help you validate your product idea, it actually makes your product better. So you're actually doing your customers a benefit because if you just create the product and then you launch it and then that's all you sell, that first draft, it's not going to be as good as if someone went through it, applied it, and then gave you some feedback, right? Absolutely. So I had 40 people giving me feedback and tell me what sucked and what was great about the course. So now the course is going to be excellent when I launch it again. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm really glad I pre-sold it, not because it helped validate my idea, but because it made my course a lot better.
Right. So if then somebody can't find somebody to buy the course, for instance, in your case, you had a list and then you were able to do a very successful Facebook campaign. Should people give it to somebody free, to a couple people free to test it out?
Yeah. I mean, with my Fiverr Success book, I actually did give a few review copies to get some testimonials, get some social proof. That was very important to me. I think don't just give it out to anyone because some people are very lazy. They actually won't go through it. If they don't pay for it, they're not going to go through it, and they'll never get a review out of them. So I'd recommend getting in touch with influencers or people who are in the same industry. So, for example, like I would give it to Gertrude because I know that I can trust her. She's in my mastermind. I know she knows what she's doing. She knows what she's talking about. So her feedback would be very valuable for me, and her testimonial will look really good on my sales page. So that's an example. If you don't have a network, if you have no one, then you can get in touch with a few people and that purchase your product and say, hey, could you give me a review? Or you can go out and find people on forums, message boards, and say, I'm creating this product. Would you like to give me a review? I'll give you a review copy, that kind of thing. So there's different things you can do to help beef up your sales page and get that social proof. It's very important.
Yeah, I think that I was actually going to, if you hadn't said this, I was going to chip in that I think online communities are so useful, especially if you are in any kind of online space. It doesn't have to be the space that we're in. It could be knitting, or you just have to find a place where your people hang out and be in that space. And then when there is a digital product you want to launch, you can give a few review products to those people in those communities and have them, what do you think? And have them review it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
in my course, I call that going where people congregate, where people in your niche congregate. That's what I call it. Like, it's so important. Going on Facebook groups, message boards, going on Quora, going on Reddit. Reddit's huge, right? There's so many sub communities in there. It's really big. And like Gertrude said, you don't have to be in this online business space. I mean, you're actually in a better place if you're doing knitting because people are not savvy to this marketing thing. They won't know what you're doing, right? So in this, people are more savvy, they're more suspicious. It's very hard to get people to help you, right, in this space. Whereas in knitting, people are going to be more willing to help you because they want to see your business succeed, right? So it's actually, you're in a benefit if you don't do the online business thing, in my opinion. Like, sometimes I wish it'd be easier, right? But
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So that helps a lot. So then I guess my other question is, you had a course where you're giving people content every week or whatever. What's your take on people paying a bulk amount versus a membership community kind of site where people pay every single month?
Yeah, I think the monthly thing is actually a lot better, but I haven't figured out a way to create a product for that. So I've never actually done it. I came really close to creating a Fiverr membership site, but I found it would be very difficult for me to create very unique, valuable content every month that people will be willing to pay for. Even if it was like something very inexpensive, like $5 a month. It was very challenging for me. So I haven't actually delved too much into that. I've been experimenting with ideas. I've had a lot of ideas for it, but I've never actually done it. I think if you have an idea for a membership site or something that you can make people pay monthly for, I think it's the best business model when it comes to digital products. If you look at like SaaS companies like Buffer, like just sites like that, or even like MailChimp, whatever, they have their customers paying monthly. That's a great business model, right? But again, it's if you can't think of a membership site, that's okay. I would still try out the information product, the ebook for like $10. Just get your feet wet, kind of thing. Just like test out the waters, because if you go too big, maybe it'll be too overwhelming for you. You know what I mean? So it's a good idea to do what I call like a bite-sized information product. That's what I teach too. So instead of creating this full-blown out course or full-blown out ebook, if you don't want to pre-sell it, create a miniature version of it and see if you can sell it for $1. Can you do that? If you can't even do that, then you shouldn't even be investing your time or even money into creating this full-blown out ebook. So create a miniature version of it, even if it's just a chapter or one technique, one method, one concept from it. Sell it for $1. See if you can sell it for $1. If you can, expand on it, right? Make it a more expensive product, make it more fleshed out. So that's what I teach in my course as well, because some people are very wary of pre-selling their stuff. Again, like you said, oh, who's going to trust me? You know what I mean? I don't know if I can pre-sell this thing, but you'd be surprised because people really want information. If you can provide them that value, of course they're going to want to pay for it before you even create it, because they want that information, right? So I mean, there's two options. You can either pre-sell it or you can do a bite-sized version, which is what I teach as well. And I recommend. So if you can't do the membership site thing, try an ebook. If you can't do an ebook, try like a bite-sized version. But the membership site's definitely the best business model, in my opinion, for a digital product.
That's great. So I guess the last question I have is about Facebook ads. Okay, that's the last question I have, because I think this is something, it seems so easy to do. I have done Facebook ads. It sounds so easy, but then it's not that easy, you know, but you got enough volume that you had people opting in to the point where 20 people actually bought from you. What kind of language? I don't know. What kind of language people be using? What do you think made you so successful with your Facebook ads?
Well, it was a lot of trial and error, right? Like I
Right.
did split test a lot of ads. I did try really weird images. So for my Create an Ebook that crushes the course, I actually had a picture of a lion for one of my ads that actually performed better than a picture of me. So I did these really
What?
so I did these really unorthodox because the point of the picture is just to grab people's attention, right?
Right.
And what I would recommend too is you don't do the sidebar ads and you don't do mobile ads. I think you should focus on newsfeed ads. Those are the best. That's the best way to go.
Hmm.
And then if you don't already, put a retargeting pixel on your website. I know I've told Gertrude this like 100 times, but it's really important
Yeah.
that because retargeting so powerful. Even if you don't get a lot of traffic, it's still worth having because once you start sending traffic to your website with Facebook ads, you capture them on your retargeting pixel, and you can market to them again. You can market to people who visit your website from maybe a guest post you did or whatever, right? It's just good to have because you never know when you'll get a spike in traffic, and then you can capture that traffic if they don't opt into your list. You can market to them on Facebook, right? And you can create a lead magnet. And the next thing I would suggest on Facebook too is to don't do any direct selling, which I already talked about. So if you have an ebook, don't create an ad for the ebook to try and sell it on Facebook. You have to create a lead magnet. Facebook is great to build a list. And then once you build that list, it's a really good idea to nurture it and provide a lot of content so people are engaged with your list so that when you do promote that product, they'll want to check it out. So you don't want to just not email anyone ever. And then once in a blue moon, you send out this advertisement for your product. You have to send them like at least an email a week, keeping them engaged with high value content. Right. And again, if you are selling like dog food, for example, don't send them an email about your dog food every week. Instead, send them maybe funny dog videos or whatever. Keep them engaged with this interesting content. It can be either educational, entertaining, whatever. Then once they're engaged, once they like your brand, they like you, they trust you, they enjoy your emails, then you can send that promotional emails. So I like doing a 4-to-1 ratio. It's something I've been experimenting with, and I found really works for me. So for my Fiverr list, for example, once people opt into my list, they'll get 4 emails from me, and they're just actually my blog posts. So I actually turn to my content. They're blog posts from my Fiverr blog, and I'll send them that. And then the 5th email, I'll say something like, I'll make it sound like valuable content, which it usually is anyway. And I'll say, here's the story of how I made $4,000 in 1 month on Fiverr. I'll give them my story, and at the end, I'll say, if you want to learn more about the story, you want to learn how I did it, check out my ebook. So I'm not just sending them an email that says, hey, buy my book. There's still some content packaged with the ad as well. So they're still engaged with it, right? That's really important too.
Right.
So, but going back to the Facebook ad though, really quickly is go ahead, Gertrude. What'd you say? Sorry.
Okay. Oh, I was saying, no, you just go back to what you were saying because I think there was a little break. So you just go back. I'll ask my question later.
Sure. Well, you just go back to the Facebook ad again. Just reiterate my points. It's just like, don't do any direct selling. Split test all your ads. Use really interesting images to kind of catch people's attention, and then have the value proposition immediately as the title of your ad. So tell them exactly what the ad is going to do for them. So, for example, if it's a lead magnet, this 5-minute video will show you an easy to sell gig on Fiverr, right? Just stuff like that. You don't want to make it too vague or not tell them exactly what they're going to get from that, because people don't really want to have to click on the ad to see it. They don't have time to do that, right? So on Facebook, have a clear value proposition, a very unique eye-catching image, split test this, and don't do any direct selling. It should go to a landing page, which you're trying to collect, then nurture that list, and then eventually sell your product, right? And then once you send that first promotional email, even if they don't buy, send them 4 more value emails, right? And then send them another promotional email made to a different product or whatever you want to do. Like for me, if they buy my product, they get put on a separate list. Then I can market to them differently to upsell them maybe a different ebook that I wrote or whatever. So that's what I do with my email marketing.
Okay. I guess my question, that's amazing, and I had a follow-up question which I have forgotten. This happens to me. This is not good. But okay, so you have a catchy picture, in your case it was the lion outdoing you, right. And then you say something like I don't know, check out this 5-minute video that shows you how to, so that you should immediately let the person know what the benefit of watching this video is, correct?
Exactly. Like, well, like the value proposition, right? So for the create an ebook that crushes it, for the lion picture, I said, let me show you how my last ebook became so wildly successful in this free video, right? Something like that.
Right.
So free is very important. Again, you want to have free in there. Again, that's going to catch people's attention. People like videos. I mean, for you, let's say you're selling an ebook, then maybe the lead magnet shouldn't be a video. Maybe it should be a cheat sheet. So I like to keep the mediums consistent. So if I'm selling a course, a video course, then my lead magnet should be a video. If I'm selling an ebook, then my lead magnet should be text. You know what I'm saying, Gertrude?
Yes.
Because the teaching medium should be consistent with the lead magnet. I just find that better. I think it's more likely to have them convert. So, for example, if they download my lead magnet that's a book, it's very likely they like reading books. So when they get the promotion for the book, they're more likely to want to buy because they're used to consuming that content. If you then promote them a video, they're I don't have time to watch the video, so I don't want to buy this course, right? So getting them used to whatever you're teaching, whatever your teaching medium is, get them used to that with your lead magnet is really important. So if you have an audio course, then your lead magnet should be an MP3 file, right? Just keeping it consistent, I think, is really important. So for creating an ebook that crushes it, my lead magnet was a video. It was actually a webinar. Then it became a 3-video sequence. Then it came the pitch at the end, which was also a video to my course, right? The ebook right now, there actually is a free 5-minute video for Fiverr, but my course is now a video course for Fiverr. So again, there's that consistency in the medium.
Okay. Wow, that sounds good. Now, I just want to show the Facebook page again if anybody had questions. I don't think I got any questions because I'm looking on my other computer here. And so I hope that we answered every question that there is to answer. But we're still available even after this webinar. So people can always ask questions. Okay, let me take a look at this. Okay, so I don't see any questions, but I will share this page with everyone in case you do have questions and would like to ask them after the Hangout is over. Okay, so I'm just going to do that really quickly. All right, I'm going to share that. Okay, so this is my screen right here, and it goes to my Facebook page for the blog, which is facebook.com/Gertrude Biz. And right here, I talk about the live hangout I was having with Corey. You can see the graphic right there. If you have any questions, feel free to just post it, or if you're on my email list, you can just go ahead and email me your questions. All right, so thank you so much, Corey. This was really, really helpful. I'm gonna bring this up again. Okay, thank you so much, Corey. This was really, really helpful. And if anybody wants to get in touch with you and maybe pick your brain or actually buy your product, where can they find you?
Yeah, they can find me on laptopentrepreneurship.com. If you don't know how to spell that, you can just go to Corey VF. That's Corey, COREY VF.com, and I'll redirect you to my personal blog, Laptop Entrepreneurship. If you want to check out my Fiverr stuff and just see what I'm doing to kind of give you ideas on how you should format your sales pages, if you want to copy some of my ideas, you can go to makefiverrmoney.com. You can see how I structure my website, what I'm doing, to give you an idea as well. Of course, you can buy the product as well, but you don't have to. You're doing. That's pretty much it. That's what I mean. The Create an Ebook That Crushes It course is not open, so I'm not going to be promoting that. If you do want to be part of the next launch, which might be in a month or two, you want to sign up on my Laptop Entrepreneurship list, and I do always have great free content weekly on that, so you're not going to get spammed or anything. The only thing I'll promote to you is the course, and if you don't want to buy that, that's fine. It's nothing personal.
Nothing personal. Thanks so much, Corey. That's such a wealth of knowledge you shared with all of us. I have learned so much, and I know that it's going to help me do better with my own product launches, and I hope it helps everybody else that was able to join us. All right. Thanks, Corey.
No problem.